we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. After some time apart, we're back. This time, Bo doesn't drink wine. I'm the only asshole that does, and he's drinking some
Bound to a wheelchair now, too, as you can see.
some shitty beer, and he's bound to a wheelchair. So,
Cheers.
cheers. I won't tell you the wine, but it's fucking good. I'm already halfway
The
through
wine
the bottle.
is named after probably one of the most popular names in America.
It rhymes with John.
Do you know the most popular name in America? First and last name combination?
John Smith?
Yeah.
Really?
I
I know for sure John is.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it's John Smith.
That's crazy.
Oh,
I know
man.
Smith's a pretty common name.
I think it's that.
I know like 10 Smiths.
I
so I'm
just
like,
looked it up recently. It was John. I'm pretty sure it's John Smith.
yeah.
And it was, I do know the number, it was 38,000. Which doesn't seem like a lot in a country of 350 mil, right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit north of that. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
we've lost.
It's
more.
probably like 1 billion by now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we got a
probably
billion
even
U.S.
closer.
citizens.
No, I think it's 38,000 is how many John Smiths. I'm pretty sure. that
Wait,
was the name.
38,000? You mean 38 million?
No, it's 1,000.
Yeah.
I thought it was low too, but I guess it makes sense because how many different combinations could you have?
Yeah.
It's,
I guess that's a lot for the same name.
yeah, for the amount of possible combinations you could have.
Imagine their social security numbers. Imagine doing the wrong digit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. John Smith. If you ever want to have an alias, that's your name.
Yeah.
Get a probably like a white Toyota Corolla,
Yeah.
most
Corollas
common
are
car
pretty
in the
cheap.
country, or an F-150.
Yeah. I could see that.
F-150, I think, is the most common vehicle. Period.
What do you think about those old, like 1990s probably, like Tacomas? Those are pretty proliferated. They're used around the world
Yeah.
more
I'd
than the
have to see one.
F-150 is.
Have you seen? It's so funny seeing the first Tacoma model. People still have them. I don't know what year it is.
I don't know
And
what it looks like. I'd have to.
Oh,
see
it's
it.
just a tiny little picture, like a tiny Japanese farmer cruising around.
Really?
Yeah, that's the way he would drive. It's such a
Wow.
little pickup truck. And then you look at what they are now.
Yeah. They're pretty much the same thing, just like bulkier in terms of
Oh,
like, the
it's
plastic.
way bigger.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It doesn't even resemble the truck anymore.
Dang.
Yeah, because I remember the old Tacomas. It just said Toyota in huge print across the entire rear of the tailgate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like a 1950s tailgate kind
Yeah.
of thing where it's nice and recessed.
Yeah. Like Fords. I know, like the nice 1980s Ford F-Class.
Mm-hmm. My
truck.
dad used to have a truck. I think it was probably a 1940s, 50s truck. It just sat in the garage and then he got rid of it.
What was it?
I don't know. Honestly. It had like that, I would call it like a beak hood, you know, instead of just being like a flat hood. It had like the nice point at the end where like you had to, like when you would latch it or whatever, and then when you pick it up, it had like a point.
Is that where you would put the thing in there to spin it, to start it, to wind it up?
No, it wasn't one of those.
Okay.
No.
That was a joke. Makes me think of Charlie Brown.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't, damn. Bringing me back.
You don't remember the scene when he would start it and it would hurt his hand? Because it'd shock him? Snoopy? Okay. I guess you
Is it the
didn't
plane?
have a
Is that what
childhood.
you're talking about?
Huh?
He would do the plane, wouldn't he? Because he was like the Red Baron, or he tried to play.
No, it was the car.
truck. Yeah. I remember him flying in a plane with that little like yellow bird. I haven't watched Charlie Brown since fucking forever.
Yeah.
I was probably a little kid. I remember watching, I think it was a Thanksgiving or Christmas one, the special. They always,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
They do
air.
that every year.
Yeah.
The Thanksgiving one was, well, they were both good.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas one,
Yeah. Well, the Christmas one, or no, the Thanksgiving is where they're playing football, right?
I think.
And then the Christmas is just a stupid little tree and a play.
The Thanksgiving one is probably what inspired your diet to this modern age. Popcorn, candy, and chips or whatever else. It's soda.
Yeah.
No turkey. Yeah, you remember that?
Probably.
You remember how they did that?
I'm telling you,
Just
it's been a
complaining.
while.
Where's the turkey? Where's the cranberries?
I remember his like blonde girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
remember her name, but and then the black haired chick. That's
Yeah.
all I can remember. I think he had a best friend too that was kind of like stupid.
I forgot her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not good with the Charlie Brown stuff. Not spun up on it.
Yeah, that was
anymore.
probably like the, probably like one of the last classic films I watched besides the every year on TV, the Christmas Story that I watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one wasn't too bad. I still watch it. You know, I haven't watched. Actually, there was 4 or 5 years where I didn't watch it on Christmas. I just wasn't home, or I just didn't care. Literally, like I remember, like my last year, like in high school, I was like, I'm gonna watch it all 24 hours. I'm just gonna leave it as background noise.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember waking up in different parts, but it was like enough of an overlap where I would watch a little bit before I went to bed, and then watch the movie, and then fall asleep, and then by the time I woke up, it was perfectly like timed. I don't know how. It would be a little bit before I fell asleep, and then it would keep going before I like finished it.
Mm-hmm. Were you a VHS like wall person? You know, wall VHS tapes, like on a bookshelf.
No, by that point, we were doing DVDs. My dad has like a custom wall in his basement. I think it's like 5 or 6 shelves, and he basically sized it for like a certain amount of DVDs. But yeah, I remember literally just stacking VHSs.
Yeah.
I was still around for all that. The orange ones were the Nickelodeon ones.
Oh yeah,
Special ones.
I just remembered the combo DVD VHS player. I think we talked about this before. I think they
VHS and then Blu-ray.
no, it was Well, later on, I think they did 3. It was VHS, Blu-ray, and DVD all in one. That was like a big deal.
Yeah, because Blu-ray were pretty expensive back when they first started.
Yeah,
They were like almost like, I think double the price, either $30 or $40. Maybe I'm tripping.
I still need to look into that. Like, what makes it Blu-ray? I'm pretty sure. Well, we talked about this the other time, but
Yeah.
they definitely up the frame rate, 100%, because of how smooth it looks. But I don't know how they do that. You can't make frames in a film.
Maybe
Unless
AI? I don't know. Now.
Nah, they
You don't think so?
because Blu-ray was a thing in what 2007
Before the recession.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember it was like there was that period where it was like, you don't have Blu-ray? You don't have a Blu-ray thing? You know? It was just like,
Never
get a
had
Blu-ray reader. I don't even know what you call it. What is it called? Blu-ray machine? That sounds so boomer.
Blu-ray player.
There you go, player.
And
Yeah,
PS3 could play them, right?
Yeah, they were
Natively.
the first ones. Yeah, Xbox.
I
I
don't
don't know if
think
they've
Xbox
ever been able to play
Yeah.
them. Yeah, PlayStation was the first ones. They might still be able to play.
Is it a Sony technology then?
Maybe. I don't know. It might be proprietary. You're right. Yeah.
Because Sony's like the multi-trick pony. They can do everything they like get into. They're like the leaders of it. World-class headphones.
You think Sony or Samsung?
No, Sony for sure.
Well, there's no Sony headphones though. There's Samsung headphones.
Yeah. I mean, but there's Sony ones.
There's Sony headphones?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They have the WH series. They have that weird naming convention with all their headphones. So I have the.
You actually have Sony headphones?
Yeah, they're
Oh, wow.
outstanding. I got them in 2019.
When you came back
No.
over there?
Yeah, it was still over.
Were they expensive? More expensive over there?
Oh, yeah, they're. Wait, no, I got them online. But they were. At the time. Well, it's a WH. I think it's 1000 is a number.
Yeah.
And then XM3. So they just call them the Mark IIIs for short.
Okay.
And so they're on the 5s now.
Mm-hmm.
But the 3s are still like outstanding.
What's the improvements? Like, is it just like battery life, basically, or like the way it sits in your ear?
Yeah, so the 3s are pretty good, but I've never tried on the 4s or the 5s.
Yeah.
So the 4s look exactly the same. They didn't really change the design of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they did make the cushions a little bit.
Oh, so they're like these kind of headphones.
Yeah, noise
Okay.
canceling, wireless.
Yeah.
They have like world class. Sony pretty much owns the market when it comes to noise canceling. You can argue Bose is up there too because it's a quiet comfort headphones.
Yeah,
They're
I
like,
think of Bose.
yeah,
Sennheiser, like I used to think was really good for headphones, and you could buy. I mean, I don't know about now, but back then you could buy like $900 Sennheisers, and they'd
Yeah.
be like fucking phenomenal. But I bought a decent pair, like a couple $100, maybe in like 2016 or 15. I thought they're garbage. I just didn't see the hype behind it.
I think those might be better for a wired.
Yeah, no, they were wired.
Open back, whatever you call them. I don't even know what that means, but open back headphones is like the buzzword for kind of like a desk set of headphones.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they were. I bought only wired up until, God, I don't even remember. Maybe 2018. And then I bought a pair of Beats.
Yeah.
And
Beats.
I went like wireless. Yeah. Beats are actually like, they're more bass heavy,
Yeah,
I'd say.
that's what I heard about them.
But I think they're great. I mean, they're decently noise canceling. I think I got the solos, so they go like these over ear, not like resting.
Yeah, on ear.
Yeah. Because I don't like that pressure on the ear, because then it like hurts quicker. Like these kind of hurt a little bit over time.
These headphones they're dog shit compared to the Sonys.
Well, I'm just saying like the comfort, like even it could be the shittiest over ear or around the ear, but if it's on the ear, then I'm like maybe an hour or two and I'm done.
Yeah. Did you ever? You might not follow Apple products, but they came out with the Apple AirPod Max.
That's
headphones.
the newest one, right?
Yeah, they're headphones.
Oh, those things look ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about.
They're so Sony, their target audience with their headphones is like travelers, because their noise canceling is top tier for any kind of continuous noise. So airplanes and trains and stuff.
Okay.
Transit sounds.
So why was Bose not competing? Like,
well, they are competing, but I mean, I'm biased because I never wore the Bose ones, but the Sony noise canceling them is, I mean,
well, I mean, when you say like
reviews,
continuous, like wouldn't they design it to be continuous anyways? Like, is that, I feel like that's a marketing term, is like continuous noise. Like, yeah, like they've built it and then they've advertised it on a plane. Like any ad you see, or I've seen, I should say, when it comes to like noise canceling, they're like, you can travel with it on a plane, and then it like shows it in the noise canceling, and then the airplane noise goes away.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just another like proprietary term like that they use. It sounds like, not to say that it's not new, but I'm just, when you're saying like Apple's the only one that does this, I feel like they would all have that in mind.
No, I'm not saying that Apple's the only one that does it. But
okay.
So Apple's noise canceling is also really good in their earbuds. Apparently the noise canceling in their headphones is also top tier. Yeah. But I don't know, those things are too nice. First off, they're like metal on the outside, like cool to the touch, like this MacBook.
Okay.
It's that.
Wow.
Like this cool to the touch aluminum.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you going to work out in those? Probably not.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin them, right?
Yeah. And then, but for travel, so the Sony headphones, they fold up nicely. They fold kind of like in half, kind of.
Yeah.
And then they go in this little case that covers them up completely. Mm-hmm. Zip hard case.
Yeah, a lot of them, even the early Beats had some form of case. I think probably after 2010 they started doing a hard case because they're like, hey, people are traveling with this.
So the Apple headphones, it's like the worst case ever because it's not even a case. So the headphone pieces pivot, right? Yeah. But they don't fold in like the Sonys and all these other headphones do. So the case they give you is not even a case. It's like a sleeve that they just go in, and then you carry the headphones by the actual headpiece. So this piece, that's the handle. And then they're not even protected all the way around with the like sleeve they go into.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they turn off is when you put them in there. Because Apple headphone stuff, it's always on. And if it's out of the case, it's on. And when it goes in the case, that's when it, I guess, turns off and it's charging.
Yeah.
Same with these. They don't turn off until you put them in that case. And they're really expensive. They're like $500 or something.
And you just can't turn them off like that.
Yeah.
That's like a shitty thing. It's like you're almost like locked into it.
Yeah. But they're too like nice. It seems like they
you
made
said
like these
$500.
luxurious headphones that I've seen some people in the gym with them, and they are not popular.
No.
All the years they've been out and all the flying and stuff, I hardly see them. Like, I know I hardly see them because when I see them, I make note of them. Like, oh, the Air Maxes.
Yeah.
AirPod Maxes, whatever they're called.
Well, I guess it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, one, it's $500. You could buy a pair of Beats for half the price, or $200 or $300, and still get decent audio quality and noise canceling and Bluetooth. So it's like, what am I paying for? Is it the Apple ecosystem? Which, again, it's not like you're paying for anything that's superior. It's just like you might be able to notice it, I feel like. And then if you're one of those people that don't like people listening to you, because it's so easy to fucking get into people's shit these days, why would I want something where I have to put it in this stupid case instead of just setting it off, turning it off? You know?
Well, if you're talking about that, is it ever actually off?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true, but I just want to, it's just, as a consumer, you're like, baseline consumer, like, no offense, is stupid. Like, you got to think of the lowest echelon of person, or people, I guess, like, in their knowledge, and then, like, target that as your, like, audience. Because, like, you got to think about the news, for example. Like, no one cares about the news, right? Like, unless it's a crazy big story like this Idaho thing that me and you've been talking about. So, like, when you come
Great story.
Huh?
Great story.
Yeah. So when it comes to, like, headphones, you know, like, hey, you want this nice bougie fucking headphone that's Apple. It doesn't even have to be any, like, you just saying Apple, like, it's like Nike or fucking BMW. Like, people just, it's more money. Yeah. Or do you want this Beats? Which Beats used to be, like, the top, in my opinion, shelf. Mm-hmm. If you had a pair of Beats, it was like, oh, shit. Yeah. Like, you spent a lot of money, you know? But I think when it comes to a consumer, they're not going to know the difference between a Beat or AirPod Max. They're just going to be like, I want Apple because I want Apple, you know? Even though it's the same shit as the Beats, most likely. I haven't done a fucking research on it.
Yeah, it feels like somebody that's already buying Apple stuff would continue just, even though it's under the same company, probably manufacturing in the same facility.
Yeah. In China.
Yeah.
Sweatshop.
That's a great country, by the way. Just kidding. But they're under Apple and everything, but someone that has Apple stuff already, phone, AirPods, that kind of stuff, they're going to, if they want headphones that bad from Apple, the Apple umbrella, period, they're probably going to go with the Apple headphones. I feel like Beats would attract people who aren't already in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because, they're huge.
Apple own the Beats, right? Am I correct with that? Yeah. So even then, like, you're basically at that literally paying for the name. Because if it's this, obviously it's like the discount quote unquote version.
Yeah. Well, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like the same qual. Like, I don't know. I'm too dumb. I'm not an audiophile guy, and maybe that's the thing. It's like, again, you're not advertising to the audiophiles. You're advertising to people that have iPhones or that like Apple.
Yeah.
You know, and they're stupid. You know, like, they're literally stupid. They're not going to do the real research on it. Like, they're going to be like, oh, Apple. I have AirPods. I have my Apple phone. I have my watch. Why not the headphones, you know? But I will say that the AirPod Pros, just the in-ear ones, fucking suck for when it comes to weightlifting. Like, it's really good if you're really just lifestyle. Yeah. But if you want to do weightlifting, like, I don't know what it is. Like, maybe my ears are just super muscular. But if I, like, do, I guess, hold my breath is what it is, and, like, kind of clench, like, the muscles, and, like, it obviously affects my ear. They just pop out.
Do you think it's the air escaping your ear that pushes them out?
Maybe. It's something. It could be. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's just something that when I work out, I get pissed because, like, I bought these to fucking stay in my ear.
Yeah.
I didn't keep him to, like, go fucking chat with stupid Steve on the school bus, you know? Like,
those things are definitely meant for, and it's funny because,
like, office work almost.
They're actually meant more for fitness stuff compared to regular AirPods because they have a higher water resistance rating. So you can go run in the rain with those on. You can go
but they fall out. That's the thing. Like, even just running, it's not even weightlifting that's the problem. It's running, any kind of exercise. When I first got them, I was like, these are going to be great. I'm going to be able to run. I'm not going to have this huge fucking headset on my head like a Beats, right? I can just run with these. These are super light. No, like literally within like half a mile, not even a half a mile, quarter mile. Yeah. They started falling out. Yeah. And I have kind of like greasier, waxier ears. It's just natural. So like as I'm running, it's just like they start to like slip out, and I'm like, nah. So now I actually prefer the around the ear wireless, like small ones. Like Beats makes them. I can't remember what they're called, but they literally like loop around and then they go in.
Yeah, they have the
and
wings.
They're so much better, like 1,000 times better.
Yeah. Well, the regular AirPods are just fine. Those won't slip out. All plastic ones.
They won't?
No. That's why I have both pairs. Whenever I go running or anything, even lifting.
It's any movement. It's like I could just walk and the pros will just pop out.
Yeah. Especially
like you literally have to be sitting there like a fucking vegetable.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what they're best used for. Even talking pushes them out. Because I've used them FaceTime, and they'll eventually, you're constantly like readjusting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not that good.
I just wonder, like,
sound wise, they're good.
They eventually should just do over ear. Because, like, if you think about it, like, I mean, in my experience at least, over ear doesn't hurt. It's just literally resting there. Like, it's mostly focusing, I would think ergonomics of the ear, which sounds kind of weird, but like, when you have a hearing aid, it goes around your ear and then it feeds in. Like this, it's the same thing as an over-ear headphone. So I don't know. You're talking about
the ones that have the wings,
huh?
The wings that go inside your ear, or just the other?
No, I don't like those because like those are, I would say, too custom. Because like not everyone's ear shape is the same. I mean, it kind of follows the same pattern, if that makes sense, but it's not the same size. So like them trying to fit it in your ear, because I think Bose does that. They try to like where you put it in and then you kind of like lock it in under like that first little canal.
Yeah.
It's not even worth it. Like just have it go around the ear, let it rest in almost like a pair of glasses, if you could say it like that.
Yeah.
It's natural. It's not heavy, and it's going to stay in. It's going to do the job you want. And I've actually made calls on it. Again, it's Apple product, just the cheap version, which it's not even cheap. It's still fucking expensive. It's still like $100, $200. But I'm just saying, like, I noticed that you like the AirPods, but like, I'm not a hype man behind them. Even with the Apple Watches, I want to get like one of those. I think they're Phoenix 7s now.
The Garmin.
Yeah. I mean, they're fucking the same price. They might be actually a little bit steeper, like by $100 or $200.
Well, they own the market for like outdoor enthusiast type watches.
Yeah.
And ruggedness, and
they have so much to them. Like they
insane.
probably have the same than Apple does, but like the way it does it is what sells it.
Those things have a halo jump.
Yeah, that's
like,
cool.
Not setting, but Apple, it would be like a workout. But
yeah, for you guys don't know, that's like a high. What is it? It's basically you're jumping out of a plane.
Altitude. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, you're just jumping out of a plane.
The L and the O the L and O are silent. It's just high altitude jump. I was kidding.
Oh,
I just don't know what it stands for.
But it's basically because there's like I think it's called Leo. Like it's like literally like a low jump. It's like I don't want to say the scariest, but
it's a halo jump.
No, I know. I'm saying the halo is a thing, but I'm saying that's higher for sure. But there's also like a low jump.
Is it low oxygen? Is that it?
Maybe. I don't know. I just know that the ceiling at which they like fly is like stupid low. Like basically you're jumping out, pulling your chute kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is like just from word of mouth. Yeah. I don't, I've never obviously done it. I've never jumped out of a fucking plane, so I couldn't.
You haven't? You're not one of those crazy people?
I don't got my wing. Actually, my best friend, I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago. He jumped out of a plane. He's like, literally got like a wild hair and he's like, I'm going to go do it. I was like, badass, dude. Mm-hmm. He just called me up afterwards like, dude, I'm doing
skydiving?
It. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it like the coolest thing ever? I just can't justify $200-something.
It's one of those things like I don't think like you could hear a million stories and it would tell you the same thing, but until you experience it, you don't know what it's like. Like especially like whether you're afraid of heights or whether you're not afraid of heights, the fact that you're up there and the fact that your parachute or your safety chute could just not fucking deploy is always in my head. And I'm still here on the ground. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even fucking however high they go, 10, 20,000 feet up in the air.
I think it's 12.
12. So if I'm 12,000 feet in the air, all I see is the earth. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I can see, the crops and all that shit, or the way they divide the land. But as soon as I jump out of the plane, I'm like, hopefully this thing fucking pops out, because if not, I'm dead.
Yeah.
There's that fucking funny joke. You have to, to the rest of your life to figure it out.
Yeah. No, there's another one. Let me try to recall this joke. Here we go. Awkward pause. I don't know. I can't. It's something like along the lines of
tuck and roll.
Huh?
Just tuck and roll.
It's like you don't go skydiving. You don't mess up skydiving twice. You just do it once or something like that. Yeah. That was a horrible butchering of that joke. Somebody knows the joke, and they can gladly inform you.
Some dude's going to be like, well, I survived, and I went multiple times.
Yeah. It's something along those lines. He, ha, ha, yeah, because you die.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't...
I worked with this guy. He was, I think, prior airborne. And I will say that it's a true story. This guy was kind of flaky in terms of, he was sketchy. He would just say shit sometimes, or, off-the-wall shit. So, saying that it's 100% factual, the way that he acted, I'll say it's probably true. But I think he was either on the ground or in the airplane. I think he's actually on the ground. It makes more sense. He was on the ground, and he saw someone shoot, not deploy. And obviously, it's a big thing in the Army or in any military, that your shoot doesn't deploy. It's what the fuck happened? But yeah, he basically saw someone fall to their death. He saw them hit impact, and because I can't say the altitude really is the factor, but he hit so hard he bounced up, and he saw that basically just bop, 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 bop. And then he saw it again, a couple weeks later. But the first time, and even the second time, his leadership was like, oh, that sucks that you saw that. Come to work tomorrow, next day. He's like, dude, I just witnessed someone die. And they're like, oh, we don't care. I'm like, are you serious? That was that's the part where it's like, what did they really say and what did you say? But I was just astonished. Dude, if I saw someone die, 100%, there's no way I'd be able to go to work the next day.
Yeah, it would bother me.
Whether I knew the person or not.
I'm not a sociopath.
Yeah. Especially when they bounce. It's not even they just died. It's they just impacted and they can just splat. It was they bounced. It was wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how 9/11 was. Because we can only see videos and audio, did they bounce? Was there a bounce, or was it just one of those things?
They didn't bounce. They
Well, that's the thing. It was concrete, right? So maybe it's because they were on softer terrain with the Army guys.
As morbid as it is, yeah, they're a little too high up to bounce. I know what you're talking about, though. That is the thing.
Yeah,
I can't say I'll confirm I've seen videos of that, but people do at a certain height. This is a great conversation, right? Yeah. At what height does a human body stop bouncing and start splatting on the ground? No, there is I don't know what the height is, but no, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. A non-bouncy surface with a non-bouncy object hitting that surface bounces. It's just the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That's how I interpret it anyways.
Yeah. There's some of that we know who we talked about this exact thing. They told me it was your organs and everything inside you just flattening out for a second and then returning, snapping back to shape.
No way.
And that's what gives you enough propulsion upwards just to get a little bit off the ground.
Jeez.
Is that true? I don't know. But
so when I was a kid, now that we're on this dark topic, I don't, because fucking me, but anyways.
Yeah. Great conversation, man.
So when I was a kid, it's not.
How are we going to put this into timestamps? How do we go from Apple AirPods to people bouncing off concrete?
Parachutes? I don't know. So when I was a kid, 9/11, I probably started watching, I would say 2006, 2008. That's probably this time where I start really creating memories in my mind of what happened when I was a kid. And then moving forward to probably when I left for the military in 2014, and then sporadically maybe 2 years since then. So out of my like almost decade away from being home, 2 years, I've seen like TV. Obviously, because TV fucking blows now. But when I was a kid, it was only you would see the impacts of 9/11 and then the stories and then the collapses, which obviously is just devastating. But slowly, especially as we approached the the decade mark of it, and they were trying to like reveal the what is it, Independence Towers, right?
I don't know the name.
The new Freedom Towers. I think that's what it is. Maybe Independence, but either way, I remember that was like the first pivot where it was like, hey, you're gonna see some more footage. I don't know why. So instead of just that traditional stuff, you started seeing like more angles of what was happening, and then I think even more angles of the Flight 93 too, because you saw that, but it wasn't really mentioned. And then I remember as I was getting into high school, because that's I would say where I became like the most. I mean, I'm still very patriotic, but the most patriotic, like, and very involved in history and everything. You just saw like people falling out of the building, but it would never show the end, right? And then I remember one year I remember seeing the individual person. I think it was a male actually. He fell out of the building. He's like, the fire or the fucking jump out. Like that's my option. He jumped out and there was, I think it was Tower 2. They like you could hear the boom, you know. And I was a kid, you know, still like young. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's a real thing. So I started YouTubing like people falling from Twin Towers, like just to see like, is this fucking real or is this like propaganda? And then I was like, wow, like there was, because that was a side even to this day that it's so gruesome that no one talks about it. Like, why do you want to talk about people falling out of a building because that's their own choice, you know? And then I remember seeing that on TV, like, and now I'm sure if they did a 9/11, even last year, they would probably show you at least one footage, like half-hour episode of people like jumping. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, obviously they wouldn't show you the impact, but like, imagine that, dude. Like, you're just there in the road, and then you just hear this loud like thump, and you're like, what? Like, what is that? And then you like start realizing, oh shit, like these people have to jump. Like, there's no option. And then like, oh, there's even more people, and then now this tower's coming down. Like, you got to run for your life. So it's like this dead person, I got to run for my life, or I'm going to be that person. And then even the aftermath of what is pictures, really. And I think I've seen one good time lapse of them cleaning up the Twin Towers. But I'm like, just you either run from that sad, depressing moment. Like, you don't even have time to react, right? Like, the time that you do react is like, I would say half-assed. And it's not even a mean way to say that. It's just like, because you run for your life, you fill that dust cloud if you got lucky enough to just be clouded with dust, or you're fucking stuck under the rubble. And then by the time you even have time, let's say days or weeks later, you're like, oh, that's sad. You know, I saw someone die. And, you know, like, you're mentally fucking traumatized, like, changed forever. And then it doesn't really hit you. You know, like, you don't have the time to process. Like, Vice, if you just sat there and be like, wow, like, I just, like, what? You know, like, I feel like it's completely different. Like, that time span, your mind kind of just puts it in its own little compartment. By the time you even sit down and think about it, it's like all you do is talk about it, you know? And I think that's what's crazy, like, to this day is even, like, when I came in, you know, I guess kind of transferred into, like, the military side. And I kind of talk about it today with some guys, but like, when I came in, it was like, you're not doing any combat anymore. But like, because our generation wasn't doing combat, there was still that generation that did the combat from, they call them pumps in the military, but like 2001 all the way to, I would say 2008, 9 is where 14. They start really bleeding off. Yeah, they do it to 14, but I would say like 2008 is where they start to like really like, hey, we're getting out of here kind of thing. You know, like from 2009 to 2014. I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't the height, but it was like 2001 to 2008 was like no shit, like a huge loss of troops, you know, U.S. citizens.
Yeah, 2009 through 11 were pretty bad years. I remember.
I think 2004, for whatever reason, I have that number stuck in my head as being like a terrible year. And I think it may have been when we entered Iraq or maybe Afghanistan. I can't remember. But for some reason, like, I have 2004 like stuck in my head as like terrible. Because like 2001, we were pissed off. Well, it's later in the year. So we really had 2002 and 2003 to really do anything. But like I think 2004 is where like shit operationally just was like, I would say really starting, you know, and then to the 08 and like you're saying 09 and shit.
Yeah.
But like there's that whole generation that's still influencing me as like a new person. So like I didn't understand it. I kind of understand it a little bit more today, but it's just interesting that like even today, from that point, you know, a decade later, from being a decade before, you know, how much it's like changed from people. And I want to say that they've been able to process it, but I don't know. It's one of those things that I personally think it's rude or like an asshole thing to like, hey, you know, what was your combat like? Can you tell me how you got that car? Combat action ribbon for you guys that don't know. You know, like I'm never going to want to do that. Same thing with your grandpa. Like, hey, how was the war? It's like the worst thing to say is because like you have no idea whether they were the admin bitch doing nothing during that time period or if they were the dude fucking holding their buddy before they died, you know? And I've heard stories from like Vietnam vets. I don't know if I ever told you a story. It was like 2009, excuse me, 2010. So my 8th grade year into my freshman year, we were doing like a Vietnam veteran tribute. And like literally we had like all these stories of like vets basically saying like, yeah, I had watched my best buddy fucking die in my arms. And, you know, again, like shoot forward 9 or 30, 40 years and it's the same shit. Like, how do you deal with that? You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. I did watch the video of the time lapse of them building those new towers. It was pretty interesting. I don't know how many years it took. It was like crazy engineering feat.
They were trying to beat the 10-year mark. I think they either beat it or they were just shortly after it.
I might be making this up, but I think they're taller too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you knock us down, we'll just come back stronger.
They're also
metaphorically
built, I think, with some of the steel, the same steel.
Oh yeah,
and they're also built with the understanding that if they were to get hit again, like, I think the big thing was the elevator, because like I think it ran, if I remember correctly, straight down, and that was part of it. So basically, the fuel was able to just drop down.
Yeah,
and so obviously heat can only withstand so much temperature. And as the flame became so big, basically, that's what kind of helped crumble it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they necessarily compartmentalized it. Obviously, I don't know because I don't work there. But I think they had that in mind kind of thing. Like, it's ideally supposed to be able to withstand another kind of attack if they decided to attack some asshole.
It seems like if the elevator is centralized, basically, if you were to look down from a, like, top view, you have a hole in the center of it, like a chamber where stuff can collect and build heat. And plus you run into the problem of only putting like, I don't know if there was like one giant elevator. Probably wasn't. There's too many people.
There may have been two, but like there was definitely one that ran a majority of the tower.
So you could put like a bunch on the outside, glass covered. Plus, that would be sick riding in that thing.
Yeah. You see, like, the city or whatever.
Half the people would be scared to get in that thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. But you definitely won't have the problem of heat buildup central to the tower. Stuff gets in that shaft. There's glass on the other side. Yeah. And on top of that, has a way it can get out, you know? Yeah. It can go to the outside.
Well, there's also oxygen, right? Like, you don't, like, the last thing you want in a fire is oxygen to feed the flame. So maybe that was part of the problem, too. I barely remember. Like,
oh, you're not a civil engineer? You don't know these things?
No, it's
Are you an idiot?
I remember this video, like, because, again, History Channel used to be the fucking best thing. They used to be, like, only history. Now it's fucking Pawn Stars. Like, I like it.
You don't like Pawn Stars?
I like Pawn Stars, but I don't fucking like it that much.
Best I can do is 150 for this 1700s diary.
Yeah. But when they would only focus on like legit history, they basically like skeletonized in 3D the Twin Tower. And if I remember correctly, they had, I would say, the top of the tower, if not almost to the top, down to like the 3rd or 4th story, maybe somewhere in there. And then they had obviously like a concrete barrier, and then they had another elevator, because obviously like it doesn't make sense to have an elevator go all the way through, because then like let's say it fucks up, like that's a pretty long chain or cable to fix.
Yeah.
But
or
yeah,
if it fails.
Or fails. Yeah. Fuck that, dude.
Oh man, they better have like 50 springs at the bottom, 50-foot long springs, just bouncing them back to the top.
Yeah. That'd be my major concern.
Yeah, that's something out of Dr. Seuss or Cat in the Hat. Oh yeah, you just bounce off the 50-foot tall springs. That'd be a Mr. Beast video, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, try and test it, I guess. I mean, it's almost like a Mythbusters, I guess.
Dude, it's crazy. Possible? The Mr. Beast guy.
Yeah,
100% reinvestment into his channel.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch him on that really popular podcast, dude? His name's like John Rogan or something.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So I watched it, but there was a period of time recently where I would drive to. Like, I literally had 40 minutes, like one way, to drive to work. And so when I would drive to work, I would listen to it, and then on the way back, I'd kind of try to finish it or at least continue it. And then if I had some time, I would continue listening to it. Anyways, during that period, I listened to so much, it kind of just like blurred together. But I definitely remember Mr. Beast talking about basically what you're saying is like he started off. I think it was in that business for like over a decade at that point. Like he started pretty young, and he just continued every day. But he would look at like samples of like what would make the video better.
Yep.
And he just kept repeating that cycle.
He talked. He didn't really talk about that specific thing on Lex when he was just on, but on Joe Rogan, he talked about that, about how basically him and his buddies in high school or whatever, because they started in high school, would go home and get on just like a group call, and go through viral videos and go on the channels of those viral videos, and they would try to figure out. Basically, it's like, why is this video so popular? And they would figure out the elements that made a great video, like the best video possible. That's the thing. That's like his buzz sentence, make the greatest video possible. And so that's what they would do. He would like obsess over that. But on Lex, it was pretty interesting because he asked more like technical, specific kind of questions, and he was talking about like titles. Okay, so title of your video. You need to make it a certain length because on iPhones and Androids, it cuts the text off on the screen. It'll say like, I did this ... or something like that.
And it makes you want to click.
Yeah, well, it cuts the text. Like if the title was, I bought 300 cars for 300 people, or something like that, it would say, possibly it would cut off and it would say, I bought 300 cars for, and it would just cut off and it would say ... because that's the way the screens are, and it cuts the text off.
Yeah.
Same with like thumbnails and stuff. He said he cancels videos if cancels the video in some instance after filming and doing all the work and doing it.
Yeah.
Cancels it, doesn't upload it, or has a great idea and doesn't even make it to filming because they can't think of what the thumbnail would be. Like, what's the thumbnail going to be?
Yeah, because you're not even going to click on it.
Yeah, that's his thing is like, if you don't click, you don't watch. That's his other like thing he says. Basically his intent is to make a video title and thumbnail combination that's completely irresistible to not click on. He wants you to click on it.
Yeah.
Huge channels too. It's insane how much revenue. And then the Feastable thing, I saw that for the first time.
What
recently.
Is it?
Feastable bars.
Oh,
Feastable.
His like chocolate.
Yeah, that I guess it's a nutrition bar. Is it?
I think he says there's like 5 ingredients. Yeah, it's like super minimal.
He says thought about that forever. Like he was talking about, like, why is it that you get a whatever nutrition bar?
Yeah,
and you look at the ingredients on the back, and there's a whole paragraph.
Yeah.
So his thing was, well, let's make a nutrition bar that has like a handful of ingredients, and get it to stores, and he said that thing is doing like insanely good. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, not allegedly. I believe him.
I'd never had it, so I don't know what it's like.
Kind of expensive too.
Really?
It was like a small bar.
Yeah.
Definitely like portion wise, it's like, dude, I gotta buy like 3 of those things. I don't know if that's the point, like what you're getting at, but I just remember like looking at the size and the price. I was like, I'm not gonna pay that. It's like how much a nice protein bar would cost, like an actual protein bar.
Yeah, with all that junk in it.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure you don't get the ones with a ton of added sugar. Just like the great Monster coffee doesn't have any added sugar to it. Mm-hmm. Does it have other stuff in there to make it sweet? Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
And is that stuff arguably worse for you than added sugar? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you had to pick between this one is sugar free, but there's 20 pounds of stevia or whatever the hell it's called.
I can't do stevia. It's like a...
Yeah, that stuff is gross. Oh, the pink packets? You know that old school stuff? That's back when like artificial sugar became artificial sweeteners started becoming a thing. Those pink little packets of some powdery dog shit. That's like disgusting.
I don't know if I've had the pink ones. I remember the yellow ones and the blue. I mean, I remember pink, yellow, blue, and I think sometimes
there
green.
You go. Yeah, because yellow is sugar. No, yeah, I think I have that right. Yellow is sugar.
Yeah.
So any Denny's or IHOP will have them.
Yeah.
In that little thing on the table.
Denny's. I'm trying to think.
Waffle House.
No, maybe it is Denny's. I'm trying to think. It might be fucking Denny's. Yeah. I think that's the place. They have it in that little fucking holder. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So the pink and the blue, disgusting stuff. That stuff has to be god awful for you.
Yeah.
Compared to some nice cane sugar. I know that's a popular thing at in Virginia. They had a place like this. It was like nice quality ingredients, and they also had their soda, and it was cane sugar. Mm-hmm. That was their thing. And yeah, I mean, is that arguably super bad for you compared to our artificial sweetener? It comes from a plant.
So I would prefer cane sugar or normal sugar, and stevia is just trash. And, and in terms of like when I even taste it, I'm like, this is stevia. I don't even. You could just give me a random like fucking test, and I'm like, yeah, that's stevia.
Yeah. I
just know because the sugar, if it's real sugar, it like, I would say it's really grainy up front, if that makes sense, because obviously it dissolves. And then the cane sugar, I can't really tell, but it's like a good. It's basically sugar sweet, but I don't get that same upfront stuff. And then the other stuff, I just, again, stevia and all that, aspartame, whatever, can't do it.
Oh, yeah, I know that word.
Yeah.
Have you ever held an unopened bag of powdered sugar? It is like the softest substance.
I mean, it's like rice almost.
No. It's like a pillow. It's
really?
Insane how soft this stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to work back when I used to work in a grocery store.
I think you told me about that.
Yeah.
For a
just
little bit,
holding that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's satisfying. Try it, ladies and gents. Go to a grocery store. Look like a creep. Stand on the sugar aisle, baking goods aisle.
Just shake it until the bag breaks and then run
away. just fondle a bag of powdered sugar. Yeah. Now I'm telling you, try it. It's impressive how fine of a powdery substance it is. Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah, but I mean that stuff. I don't know why that stuff's not, more popular in terms of. You don't really see that. Besides baking ingredients, you don't see powdered sugar in a coffee place to add it. It's usually just like the whole stuff.
Yeah.
But that stuff dissolves like instantly. The powdered sugar is powder. So.
Well, they have the. Well, no, I'm thinking of creamer. Yeah. I mean, I guess the
non-dairy creamer.
Huh?
Garbage. Non-dairy creamer. Is that what you're thinking of?
No, I was just thinking like the little cups of creamers that you get. Not necessarily the non-dairy. Yep. Just for some reason I was thinking the powder was in that. But I mean, I guess sugar doesn't matter. As whatever form it's in, it's sugar. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So
I was reading my book 2 nights ago. The Body, Bill Bryson. Good book. fun fact. I wrote this one down. So chemotherapy, right?
So I'm pissing.
Yeah, just taking a piss. So chemotherapy, right?
Nothing in there.
In 1943, chemical weapons. Done?
I'm telling you, there's like nothing in there. Look at that. There's like nothing in there.
Well, it's because it's about the width of the container, not the height.
Well,
that's just reminding us. Sidetrack. We'll get back to chemotherapy. Did you see that? I don't know. It was like a YouTube short or Facebook cut, whatever they call them. It was like it was a video that was called "Starbucks is scamming you," and he showed them. Let's see, what did he do?
It was like a cup of ice, right? And then just a normal.
You might have shared it actually. I might saw it. He had a large cup, and then he had 3 small ones, and he poured all 3 into the large one.
Yeah, it's because to backtrack on that, the cup that he was pouring had no ice. It was just the liquid.
Did I say that right? I might have got that wrong.
No, it was fine. No, exactly right. It's just the cup that he poured was liquid. There was no ice. And then he had 3 separate cups of ice. And then when he poured the venti into the grandes, it was completely full. So it's like, if you ask for ice, you're getting fucking screwed out.
Oh, okay. That's what.
But if you ask for just a liquid, because that's what you really want, what you're paying for is for that liquid to be chilled, right? But when you pay for it to be chilled, you're losing out on the 3 times amount. If that makes sense. Like 1 for 3.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I remember sharing that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So if you melted all that ice down and looked at the volume it takes, it would be like half your cup.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. If anything, like you ask for even little ice, and they're like, "I'm gonna take out 1 cube." There's still a fucking lot of ice.
Do you think that's like a prescribed thing they tell them to do?
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta think. So think about that. If you're the owner of said name business, and you don't use ice, you're using all that product, right? All that money's worth. So you're feeding 50 customers, 50 gallons of coffee in this instance. And then you say, the next day, you say, hey, add ice. Let's see what happens. Well, now you're using 25 gallons, right? Half the cost. And then you're filling the same customers. Yeah. They're going to do that every time.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell them to do it like a cocktail. Be like, can you take my coffee and mix it in with ice and then pour my coffee with a strainer into the cup so it's chilled with no ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it be a watery coffee if your ice is melted? You can't really mix that. I mean, I guess you could because it would be kind of cold, but it would be so short that I feel like it wouldn't stay.
Well, it wouldn't have... Well, the ice remaining in it, it keeps it cooler, but it's also melting. So you're having a consistently cool, but steadily more watery coffee.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's that trade-off, right? Like you can't have it fucking perfect in that instance.
What you can do is do the stainless steel cube method.
Oh, where you get your own cubes and just throw it in there?
No, like frozen stainless steel cubes.
Yeah, and then you just add it to the coffee that you
got? But it doesn't water it down.
No, that's not, that's what I'm agreeing to. Yeah. So like you would do that because you still get the coldness, but it's not gonna change the taste at all.
That can't. Okay, for starters, the stainless steel cube thing, or I guess it would have to be stainless.
Yeah.
You could be a man and use rusty cubes.
Aluminium.
Yeah. Yeah, aluminium.
I fucking hate when they say that. Yeah. It's aluminum.
Yeah.
This is America.
Laboratory.
Oh
vitamin.
Yeah. The Renaissance. It's the Renaissance.
So the metal cubes cannot be popular. I have never in my life seen anybody in a bar or any business or any person just own them. I've never been served a drink or seen anybody consume a drink that has stainless steel ice cubes or stainless steel cubes in it.
I guess they're probably worried that you're going to run off with them. They're kind of expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, that's a good point.
You brought up a funny point. My mom, of all fucking people, I mean, I guess it's not too outlandish because it's fucking my mom. She has I'd call it a satchel. She calls it her fucking bag, really. she'll literally just like, oh, I like that cup. Let me just throw it in my bag. She just fucking steals from restaurants. Or she used to, at least, pre-COVID. I don't know if she does it anymore. But I remember one time she bought probably like 5 cups back in her fucking purse. She's just like, ooh. Ooh. And then she would just fucking take it home. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing, dude? It's so funny.
My favorite is the because my parents, they don't do that.
Yeah.
But what they do is, so they're like to-go cups. Mm-hmm. Well, any cup, I guess, at a fast food joint, they give you the same thing. There's
like the styrofoam ones or the...
No, the plastic ones. They keep those things.
Yeah.
I'm like, get rid of this. They'll have a Hardee's cup in here. Same with the... their favorite is the sandwich meat containers.
Oh,
like Pepperidge Farm, I think the brand is.
Yeah,
they have
the red.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like to save. And all right, well, that one is you can maybe justify that one a little bit better.
I mean, it's basically the same thing.
Oh, but
it's just a red topper, but it's small.
Well, the meat at least is in a bag inside of it, so it doesn't like taint it, I guess you could say. But everybody takes the meat out. Kind of, and it gets in there, but whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the chemotherapy, right? So, and after World War One, I guess everybody was like, "Wow, mustard gas is kind of bad. We probably should outlaw that." So they did. So got rid of
it. Is it a UN thing? There's like some like regulation that came out.
I don't know if they're around back then, but now it's the Oh
no, they weren't. World War One. It didn't come out till World War Two.
Wow.
But there's something. Is it Geneva Convention?
No, it's the man, this is gonna drive me insane. I am embarrassed that I can't recall this. I literally.
Did you even read the book?
Work with them.
I know what you're talking about though. But yeah, they did outlaw it because basically they were like, "Yeah, let's not do this anymore. This is a terrible idea."
Present day, there's a organization. Agency, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
UPCW. Prevention of the proliferation of chemical weapons.
Which is like encapsulating like chemical, nuclear, shit like that.
They're basically like, hey, chemical and nuclear, radio, biological, anything is bad. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's present day. I don't know if that's who outlawed this. It created this agreement after World War One.
Yeah,
but in World War II, they for some reason sailed ships around with mustard gas on them. Still, It might be like today, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
and in the past, cruising around in our bombers, cruising around with nuclear weapons, ready to rock and roll, just in case. I know in the Cold War for sure.
Yeah,
but in World War II. Us, which is hard to believe because we never do any wrong in war, right? We never
U.S.?
Yeah, we never do a single bad thing.
Well,
I'm being facetious, but
up until World War II, no, Korea actually, we didn't do anything wrong. But once Vietnam happened and television and the media, then we did.
No, we always did it. We just started getting caught more, right?
I don't want to say like. I would say caught isn't really the term though, because it's like one of those things that like
exposed,
revealed. Yeah, because like you're not really exposing that it's happening. Like it's not like it's a hidden curtain. Like no, it's legit happening. It's just you're now revealing it to the public. You know what I'm saying? Because for the dawn of time, like this shit happened. You know, like especially I don't want to say blue on red because it's not really. It's more of a modern term, but like. Man on man, because you got to think like, let's say Egyptians attacked the Romans. It was all on fucking chariots and like legit men with shields. There was no fucking airstrike. Like you literally had to outmaneuver your enemy. You know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So we had the ship. Can't remember the name of it. It was around Italy at the time, and it got hit, and with like artillery. And it blew up the mustard gas on the ship.
Ooh.
So first off, revealed that
We had mustard gas.
Yeah, we were carrying that stuff around. Killed like pretty much everybody on the ship. So they sent some.
That fucking blows. When was this?
1943.
Oh, so World War II. Yeah.
They sent some general, American general. He was some kind of man. He had a big title in the medical world. He was like a head dude in some type of medical thing.
Okay.
So he went there to do his own like investigation, and he noted how mustard gas significantly reduced the body's ability to produce white blood cells,
which is the cells for infections, right?
Yeah.
Or is it fixing your injuries? It's one of the two.
Yeah. In the cancer world, I guess that's something you want to do with like cancerous growths is significantly reduce the production of white blood cells.
Yeah, because they're like, yeah.
For whatever reason. So he was like, wow, that's a good idea. So basically, modern day chemotherapy is giving you, I'm not saying it like literally mustard gas, but elements of mustard gas. You're just getting a slight little dose of that to treat your cancer. Wow. So because of an accident, that's how we found out about the possibility to use this chemical to like fight cancer and stuff.
Jeez.
To slow it down. But
is it actually effective? Because like, I don't want to say this person's name, but someone famous said that we are able to like stop cancer in its tracks, basically.
That sounds like something Kanye would say. Was it him? Was it that dope?
I don't know if it was him. I'm thinking of someone. Maybe it was him. I wouldn't throw it past it, but that brings me to like someone I know that has cancer now through mutual. I don't want to say mutual family line. Probably the easiest way to put it. Anyways, this person has, I think she's number 7 or 8 in the world that has this type of cancer. And basically they're throwing every type of cancer treatment at it, like chemotherapy, whatever you want to call it, radiation. So I wonder if this mustard gas is like being thrown at this person.
Well, if it's chemotherapy, that's the, I guess, derivative
of the mustard gas.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's literally mustard gas, but it has something.
They isolated something from it.
It has a relation to going back to mustard gas.
So what made it so lethal? Because like mustard gas is like more inhalation, right? Like you like breathe it in.
I want to say, I don't know, but I believe it has something to do with it prevents your red blood cells from being able to carry oxygen.
Oh, so your body's not going to get the oxygen it needs.
I might be in the area.
Yeah.
I think that's probably 30% correct. It has something to do with that. It's like a choking agent, basically. So you're breathing, but like nothing's happening. It's not getting to your brain.
Oh, so like let's say for every 2 breaths you take, your body's getting oxygen finally.
It's like the oxygen gets in you, but it doesn't get carried anywhere. I believe that's somewhat
accurate.
Yeah. UPCW. I think that's what I couldn't recall. That's the anti-chemical weapons people.
Okay. Yeah. What's the book called again?
The Body.
The Body?
Yeah, by Bill Bryson.
Okay.
It's a great book. It talks about the biggest thing is it talks about things in a way that anybody that graduated high school can read it and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
What happens if you didn't graduate? You're fucked.
You got to read the Cliff Notes. You got to read the study guide thing on Amazon. You can get or you can get the I don't know. Have somebody read it to you and be like, all right, break down each sentence here.
But
you can all right. People who graduate high school and people who have a GED. I think you could read it.
I have a GED. I'm just kidding. I'm just breaking your story down.
Don't buy the book.
To go back to this person, so she has again 7th or 8th person in the world that's literally that fucking rare.
That is like
crazy
odds for starters.
I mean, like,
what's 7 divided by 8 billion?
If there's even 9 billion now, that's still insane. Like, the amount of people, like, you can't even imagine that number. Like, if you just put them in a room, like, you can't even see, like, your eye over the horizon wouldn't be able to see the last person. Like, it would just keep going. But anyways, she has cancer in her heart. I don't know if it's like the aorta or the there's 2 different parts of your heart. So it's like as it flows down and then as it comes up. But I think it's in the aorta. But regardless of where it's at, it's in the heart. And like cancer is notorious, obviously. It's number 7 out of 8 billion, for instance, in the world. And so like they have to throw everything out because like let's say she's number 7, for instance, like the lowest number, the denominator. So the person that was number 1 and the person through 6, those are the only case studies that they have. So like she, there's this book called I think it's called The Awakening or whatever. Basically, they wanted to dissect this dude's brain because like the way that the phenomenon happened, they were like, hey, he can either teach us, right, because he's such a rare case, or he can live out his life and eventually just die, and we will never touch his brain. But it's like the same thing, 1 through 6. Like, if we want to learn what happens to number 7, we have to like figure out what happened through 1 through 6. But again, if 1 through 6 didn't even do it, if 2 of the 6 decided, hey, I want to help out, those are all that they have to go off of. So I'm just thinking, like, we're in 2023 now, and we have no idea how to combat cancer in the heart, you know? But then they're like trying to combat cancer in general. So it's like, you're not even, whether it's the brain or the heart, those are the 2, or I should say the spine, those are the 2 organs, or I don't even know if that's the term, but places in your body, rather, that, excuse me, if you get cancer, like, what do you do?
There's a spine cancer?
I'm assuming there is. There's got to be. You know, if it spreads through the body, like, they say the lymph nodes, that's usually, like, the term they say, like, oh, it's spread throughout all the lymph nodes in the body. I'm just saying, like, if you ever get it in the spine, which I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can't cut up your nerves, right? Like, the cancer is growing in there. You can't cut up your heart because if you're going to even put your heart on a machine, you know how they do, like, triple bypasses and all that shit, like, to get your heart replaced and stuff. How does your heart run if the cancer's in your heart and then your brain,
that's the scariest one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like your heart, your spine, and your fucking heart is because if you were to go into the brain, it's almost like the bottom of the sea or the moon. It's one of those things that it's within reach, but we have no idea anything about it. We have an idea, like a couple things about it, but like it's so under-discovered that we're like, if we fucking slit this part of the brain to remove this cancer or take out this, we have an idea, but we don't fully understand. And we don't use our brains, for instance, to even the max. So it's like we can't even comprehend what happens if you do 100%. We can only theorize or predict. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you have it in the heart, like, you take my heart away, I can't function. Again, like oxygen. I'm not going to get oxygen to my body. So what do? You throw all the fucking treatment you can at it. Hopefully it works.
Mm-hmm. So that book actually taught me about how, I guess, rugged and tough your brain actually is.
Yeah.
I want to say it's called a lobotomy, where they...
It sounds about right. I mean, is that the study of the brain or...
No. I think it's called a lobotomy. So there was this dude, not like super long ago, because they have photos of him.
Yeah.
So photography was around. I want to say it was in the 50s, 60s, 40s, whatever. He used to provide and advertise that he would do lobotomies. I hope that's the right word. But
that's for sure a word. I'm trying to, like, I think it's the brain for sure.
So basically, he said that he can do a medical procedure on you that will cure or alter or help treat if you have some kind of like behavioral problem, like anger problems, you have like you have like this going on, X, Y, and Z going on, And his procedure, this is nuts. His procedure was you come in, you lay down on his table, and he was just like in there, cuffed his sleeves up, roll his sleeves back, and he took an ice pick and he would stick it into your eye, not into your eyelid, and go above your eyeball.
Wow.
And into your brain, and no shit, just move it all around in there, just like. And it didn't kill a lot of people. That's the crazy thing. Most people survived, and it was like a 15-minute thing, and it would like fuck up people's brains.
Yeah.
And it was true. It would completely alter how they behaved. It's like your prefrontal cortex and all that stuff in there.
Yeah. So there's a story I learned in college. I don't remember, because there's obviously different regions of the brain, and I'm terrible at them now than I was then. But there's a famous story of this dude. I think it was a metal pipe. Basically went through his fucking head.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Coal mine.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
this book's talked about like 3 times now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And basically what happens is like a chunk of his brain is moved away. And so there's like a theory, I'm pretty sure it's a theory is what the term would be, or it was a study. Anyways, that your brain is still obviously able to function, but in this instance, when the dude's brain got completely damaged, they had to take it out, and he became so like his personality changed is what the main plot is. He became very aggressive. He would like cuss a lot, and obviously he eventually died prematurely. I think he was like 40 or 50 or something, but it's because of this metal thing going through his head, metal pipe, and so it's just one of those things. You can still function, but it's like a matter of what you lose as you lose that part of your brain. So like this dude's poking around, like obviously he's poking shit that shouldn't be poked.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how does that affect that person?
But in my mind, it seems like that would be an instant death sentence. Like I'm picturing the brain being this thing that if you like flicked it hard enough, you would like completely mess somebody up.
Yeah.
But no, he's over here stabbing. In my mind, that's like almost like getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
Which I mean, but plenty of people get shot in the head and they don't die, or have a metal rod blasted straight through their face.
Yeah.
Like that dude. Yeah. So he would do these. He did like thousands of these lobotomies on people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would take like 15 minutes, and they would leave and like be fine. It was crazy. Like, it just didn't die or anything.
Yeah.
And they would be like altered. And yeah, he got away with this. I don't know how it was the thing, but I guess that was back when they didn't care too much about it.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to like World War II, and I think he's called a doctor of death if he's the correct guy. But in general, the Nazis would do a lot of experiments on Jewish people, especially twins. They favored twins. It was like their favorite thing. Like if you were a twin, they were like, "All right, we're gonna experiment on you," and they would just do all these nasty, like disgusting, non-obviously ethical experiments on twins. They would basically like use one as the experiment and one as the constant. There's like a term for it. I can't remember.
Control.
But neutral, yeah. And they would just, fuck around with these twins. It was disgusting, but yeah, back to your point of being like lobotomized, like it's not uncommon that doctors, especially in the olden days, would just fuck around and be like, all right, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because like not the Nazis, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about in general, like that knowledge has been able to help us understand modern times. So it's like those people made, I would say, the ultimate sacrifice that enabled like modern research and understanding of how the brain works. Because even like if you go down even to the DNA, we don't even know about DNA. There's so much DNA combinations out there that we're like, and this might be a problem later on in life, or this might end up developing into something as the person's born. So it's like crazy to me. Yeah,
going back to cancer though, it talked about, because I think I'm still in the cancer section.
Yeah.
Because before that it was like diseases and viruses, but apparently, so prostate cancer in men it's like you're going to get it. If you live long enough, I can't remember the statistic, but I think it was like 2/3 of men over 60 that die.
Wow.
Not from prostate cancer, but they just die. They had prostate cancer. It was just undiagnosed. Mm-hmm. And it like this whole thing about we're extending life expectancy every year.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, ours is not high compared to everybody else.
You mean like females or
men and women? Ours is 78.5, I think.
What do you mean? I guess I'm confused by when you say like ours isn't high enough compared to them.
So, if you're comparing developed countries,
okay,
ours is very low.
The U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to like Singapore, for I think it was women in Singapore, it's 87.4, and ours is, I think overall is 78.4. So that's not a fair comparison, but even still, we're like 8 years away from them. I'm sure with our women, but apparently, if men could live long enough, every single one of them would get prostate. Like every single one of them would have prostate cancer eventually.
Jeez.
So like we raise the life expectancy every single year because medical gets better and all that.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, everybody's gonna die eventually. Like if we can start living to 100 is becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
Right? Like how about 110? How are you gonna do 110 if cancers exist? Like everybody gets cancer in some form eventually. If you live long enough, you will get cancer. It's just cancer is a sign that we have the ability to evolve, basically, because evolution comes from mutations.
Yeah.
And mutations don't always go right. That's where cancer comes from.
Isn't that crazy? Mutations just in of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is crazy. But if we didn't have cancer, that means we wouldn't have mutations. That means we'd be fixed, stuck, basically. Yeah. So
we're like the death of our own product, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an interesting point in terms of like. When I took a gerontology class, probably when we lived together.
Is that the study of old people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's probably the most depressed I've ever been in college. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, so I think it starts from conception all the way to death. And, like, literally as I'm going through the life ages, like, I'm getting sadder and sadder. Like, halfway through, it's, like, obviously middle-aged. And I'm like, oh, man, like, you know, at the point I wasn't even really thinking about middle age, but I was like more thinking about my parents and like what they're going through. And then I was like, man, like this is what it's like. And then I start getting a little bit later and I'm like, this is what my grandparents are like. And then I'm like, oh shit, this is what they're expecting, you know? But it was basically outlining like we don't really have the infrastructure. And that's the when you think of the term infrastructure, it's, I would say, very loosely termed, but it's also very concrete in what it means. So loosely as in like it can be applied to any aspect of life, but concrete in the fact that in the context that you use it. So like when it comes to gerontology, old people, we don't really focus on old people. Like, you know, you would rather save a young person than you would an old person because technically the old person's lived their life, vice the young person who has a whole life to live. So like one of the things is like basically you're going to be alone when you're old. Whether you have a spouse or not, eventually you're going to be, if you're living long enough, by yourself. And at that point, you have to, I would say it's a fine line between abuse and understanding the person's mental state, and then that they're not necessarily aging, which is kind of contradictory. So abuse is obvious, right? Like they're going to get abused in certain facilities compared to others. So like, the quality of care is really what you're kind of focused on in that. Then when it comes to how you are as a person that's obviously declining in life, like your health, no matter what, the older you get, it's declining, especially at certain phases in life. And then when you get to that point of like they're obviously in the decline, and like they have no idea. Like Alzheimer's, dementia is usually what you can associate with that. So I bring that up because like we don't really give a fuck about old people, you know, like when you're at that point in life, you would think like people would care about you, but then you have to kind of break it down in those 3 categories. Is this person being abused, as in are they being silenced, and are their concerns being confused with the other 2, as in are they actually developing those Alzheimer's, dementia, or are they just kind of being like kind of in that middle category? And I'm just like kind of scared in terms of like you've kind of talked about it too, is like, you know, you're afraid of being alone, but at that point, like, are you going to know or have any idea, or are you going to be kind of gaslit into believing like no one's there, you know, you're all by yourself, let's just kill you off. And then they kind of discount you as having any opinion, you know, and then you get pissed off, but you can't really do anything because physically your body is obviously weaker. So like you might want to put up like a fight, but like maybe your body can't. And when you have like, you know, sad things like prostate cancer, like what are you going to do? You know, they're going to just like, okay, we have a person here with prostate. We have a person who we think, whether they diagnose it or not, has Alzheimer's and dementia. Let's just let them go comfortably in hospice and then let them ride it out, you know, like not even give them treatment, but just kind of let the severity ride out. And I don't want to misspeak and say like that's people's necessary intentions, but like as a society, I feel like that's kind of how we view them. Like, if it's not my loved one, I don't care, you know, let them rot. But it's like, how do we counteract the prostate problem, you know? If it's so widely proliferated in men, especially, obviously only, because I think even the prostate itself can be removed and you can still function. It's like a revolutionary or evolutionary, it's not revolutionary, but evolutionary thing. Yeah. Like, we don't need our appendix, we don't need our prostate, but it's still there. And even like our molars, you can kind of add that in there as things that's in the body, but we still haven't really developed them out of the body, but they're killing us, you know?
Yeah. Interesting. So, like the molars thing, though, that's because we started cooking stuff. It became, and also processed food. Because
it's like soft. Is that what you mean? Like it's too soft. We don't need those back teeth. I don't know a lot about it, so
I believe our jaw shrunk a little bit because we don't need this like rugged, big jaw to chew up really tough stuff.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because like, you know, apes had like, or our ancestors, like they say, had pretty wide jaws. Yeah. Especially jaw lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our molars definitely fit. It's just how we've evolved and everything.
Yeah.
But because once we started cooking, like fire and everything, that like completely. It's funny how that one thing completely redid everything.
Yeah.
Oh, now we have 24 hours of light. We can do more. We're more productive, and we can cook.
Yeah.
Makes things where you can store it, preserve it a little bit. Easier to chew, less illness. Boil water. I wonder how long it took him to boil water. How long do you think that took? They realized, well, first they had to have a container.
Yeah, I mean, 11, I think it was, again, History Channel was good. I think it was 12 to 10,000 BC is when we started, like, fucking with fire. So if you think, like, we had the idea of what even fire was, because obviously it was really only one person or a group of people that had the idea, and then they started spreading it. So it's like, if you have that information and then you talk about containers, what were their containers like? Were they just horns hollowed out? I don't even know I can't even fathom a container.
Probably a leather bowl.
Oh, from like maybe a testicles or something from a buffalo?
Could be.
Yeah, or bladder.
Rawhide.
Yeah.
Hide.
Those but then you gotta heat it up though, right? Or like that's another question.
Oh yeah, true. Containers that you could heat up, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's kind of tough.
Maybe a wooden bowl. One-time use.
Yeah, for sure.
Does the wood burn?
Yeah.
It's like the styrofoam. Yeah, you know those videos of people boiling water in styrofoam cups?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know this thing.
Is it styrofoam or carb? It's like those. I think it's those ramen type bowls.
Ramen? Like you mean like Top Ramen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't allow.
But that's still modern though, no? Like they didn't have that back
Oh
then.
yeah, no, I'm talking about maybe a wood. You could boil water in wood, in a wooden bowl. Sounds crazy, but if you can boil water in a. I'm pretty sure it was a paper type container.
Yeah.
It doesn't burn it. It just turns black from the carbon, but it doesn't burn. There's water in it, and you can boil water in those things.
I mean, we had to have, even if it wasn't boiling, it was some sort of filtration system, you know? Because, like, we wouldn't have made it this far without that. Because water is our natural resource. So, like, if we're just shit, like, you know, like, if you drink from a natural pond or whatever, and you just, like, shit your brains out, and then, like, let's say you're isolated from the world, you're going to die. So, like, there was some weird filtration system that we had. Whether it was boiling the water or filtering it out. There was something. And then one day they were like, let's put this container here and then pour water in it and then we'll filter it out.
It's just crazy thinking that before fire, like when the sun went down, that was it. That's all you get.
To bed?
For like light.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like there's no like nod at that in modern civilization. Like living in a world where, all right, the sun is the only light source you get. You can't see that anywhere in the continental United States.
Yeah.
And in terms of, well, maybe you can. I'm talking in terms of light, artificial light in no way obscures the night sky. In the continental United States. I think you can in some parts of the Midwest, possibly. Mm-hmm. At sea, though, that's probably one of the best places. You know that island? So there's this island in I believe it's the Pacific. When you're on that island, the closest people to you are the astronauts in the International Space Station when they go overhead.
No way.
It's the most isolated place on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. So imagine being out there what the night sky looks like. And
I mean, the stars and the moon only provide so much light. Like, I feel like you can see a certain amount, but like my biggest fear would be one of those like 30-foot waves that's gonna fuck my day up, you know? Like that's like you hear the water coming and you see like the moon kind of like riding the wave, but you're like, what is that? You know? Like they had no context. They probably died, to be honest, because like, not to be mean, but like reality of it is they probably weren't smart enough to understand like, oh, that's a wave. Mm-hmm. They were just like, oh, what is that? You know, and then they're dead.
Yeah, so the moon, full moon though is insanely bright.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It doesn't. It's
unfathomable. It's literally like a light at night.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bright when you look at it, you see, it's painful to look at.
Yeah,
I think that could be the reason why. It's weird. Like everybody's fascinated with a full moon. It doesn't matter how many times you see a full moon, and it happens monthly.
Yeah.
I believe that right. The moon phase is a month long.
Yeah, should be.
Pretty sure. Every single month you see a full moon, but it never fails. Every single time it's starting to rise and it's right on the horizon. It looks insane how big it is. Everybody is like, wow, that's a full moon. Wow. Doesn't matter how long you live, you still have that reaction. I think that might have something to do with before we had fire. That was a big deal because it's like, wow, our day is like 24/7 now as far as light goes. You can hunt. I don't know. It was like a big deal when it was full moon time. So it might be like something triggering our.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you were able to get close to your enemies or.
You could function.
Yeah.
It's funny too because clearly we didn't need eyes that could see in the dark very well because we don't have them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we had them, and our night vision has gotten worse over the years. That could be true. Maybe we had like cat-like night vision in the past. But it's like we didn't need nature to come in and build some night vision eyes because we had some kind of light source already.
Yeah.
We figured it out too quick. But Yeah, I think it's weird how like never fails full moon. Nobody gives a fuck about the sun.
Yeah.
Sun comes up, you're like, all right, sun.
It's fucking hot.
Yeah, full moon though, you still see it to this day. It makes the news. News stories talk about the full moon. It's like, yes, you know that happened last month. It rose. The full moon rose, and it was big and orange. Never fails. All these years, it's still a big deal. The full moon rising.
Yeah.
Good CCR song, by the way. That's Bad Moon Rising. Idiot. Whatever. Close enough. Yeah. Full moons it's something about them. People love them.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. It's interesting, but it shouldn't be interesting. It happens every month, and it's like, yes, it's the moon.
I think if we have these, I don't want to say prehistoric, but like more
primitive. Primitive.
Yeah, like primitive, like intuition. Like we resort to that,
It's just like campfires. I think we talked about this before. People love campfires, just staring at them. It's weird. You just look at them.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything. It's just a dumb fire.
You touch it, it burns you. You know?
It's generally harmful.
Yeah.
But no, we love sitting there. I do it when I go home. Fireplace going. I like to just sit there and hear it and look at it. People love the 8-hour loops on 10-hour loops on YouTube of fireplaces.
Yeah.
Firewood crackling.
It might, that's the word. It might be the crackling that gets it going.
But it's like, why do we love that? It's just like, we love that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I think we're more interested in like, almost like an excitement level. Like, what is that noise? And it's like a crackle. It's like, I think primitively, it means a lot more. Like, it means we're going to eat. It means we're going to have safety. It means we're going to be able to ward off the bad energy or the bad things,
Mm-hmm. Keep
like
off animals, too.
Yeah. Like, if you just think about cave days, right? Like, if we were cavemen originally, like, that means that we can put a fire in front of the cave and not have to worry about everything behind it because it's already, like, safe.
I think the stuff that we get excited about or we're very interested today that shouldn't be are things that in the past were meant a big deal to us.
Yeah.
Like a full moon. That means, all right, even before like a full moon, you got like, 5 days on the front and back end of it. That's like a pretty bright moon anyways. It's called a gibbous. Yeah, that's the moon phase. A gibbous, waxing or waning gibbous. I think gib means big in Latin.
Okay.
Yeah. It could also be that it's big backwards, but anyways, yeah, it's a big deal because the biggest thing I can see, like fire is a lot of things. You can get a lot of benefits. Full moon though, I'm thinking hunting 24/7. You could literally set up shifts at that point.
Yeah. For the buffalo migrating. You ever seen Dance with the Wolves?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Dude, you need to watch it. So basically, in the middle of the night, the main cowboy character hears like, I think he either hears or he goes up to a hill and sees it, but it's like a stampede, right? And obviously they're able to be really good at. I mean, at that point it was 10,000 buffalo running, so obviously you would be like, oh, there's where they fucking went, But it's one of those things like when you see that, you're just like, oh, there's my food for the day, Yeah. Like they're that way. So like 24/7, you're able to monitor like, this is where we're gonna go, And I don't think that we were really nomadic in the fact that like we just moved place to place. It's like, no, we're gonna move place to place because now we have the ability to see instead of we only have 12 hours of light, not even probably like 8 hours of light. Now we have 24 hours where we can. All right, they're probably moving this general direction. We understand the information, so by the time the light comes up, we can move. I think that's part of what it was is kind of an intelligence or information game. Now we have this information. Let's move on it. Mm-hmm. Before that, we weren't able to do anything. We were too scared.
Also, like natural movements we do when we're around things. So, like campfires. What is the Let's see how I can ask this without skewing what you say. If you were to approach a campfire or any heat source, really,
yeah,
what's like, and you're cool or cold, what is like the thing you do? Like without fail, every human being does when they approach a heat source, like a fire or like.
I mean, you want to put your hands in it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
it is number.
Yeah.
So Andrew Huberman taught me this one. As far as heating and cooling your body, so for cooling, for example, a lot of people think like, oh, he's hot. Pour cold water on him, on his neck. That's the popular one. No, that's like one of the worst things to do. The best ways to regulate your body temperature, you have these areas on your palms and on your cheeks right here, on your face, that when you apply temperature, whether it's cold or hot to those areas, you can modulate your body temperature the most quickly with those two areas in particular. It's kind of weird, but if you're freezing and you turn on a hot shower or just hot water, shower wouldn't make sense because you just jump in the shower. Yeah. Like a hot, sink, fireplace, whatever. Yeah. If you just ran your hands under that water, that will heat your whole body. Wow. Which is kind of weird to think, but no, it is because your blood is circulating through there. Yeah. Same with your face. That's probably like when we're cold, we'd love a hot shower, like running over our face. Yeah. Yeah, that's like a natural movement we do, which is kind of interesting because like that's you're displaying the most efficient heat or temperature regulators to the heat source. Yeah. Or well, you don't really do that with cold water. If you're hot, you don't run your hands under cold water. I don't think people do that regularly. That's kind of weird. You definitely do it with hot. Hot stuff.
I mean, usually it's like too cold to want to do that, you know?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Like having heat on your hands is like nice, feels great. Yeah. Yeah, that's like it's kind of weird because like if your whole body is cold, the thing you would do in my mind that makes sense is you would put your entire body closer to like hunch up, huddle down next to it. Yeah. But people pretty sure more often would not, which is do the whole this number. And even when people are cold, what do? But that's another perfect example. Without
their hands together.
Yeah, they do this number. Yeah, it's weird.
No, that's a good thing because like the heat comes back to both. You know.
Yeah, isn't that weird how that's like a natural movement? Nobody. Yeah. That's probably nurture because you see people do that and you learn to do that. Yeah. But I don't know, there's a reason why you do that. Like what sense does it make? And sidetrack. Same point though. Your hands are really sensitive to the cold. That's like the first thing that starts going.
My feet too.
Yeah. Yeah. Your digits and all that. Yeah. Maybe it's designed that way so it encourages us to warm up our hands, which in turn warms up your whole body. Yeah. Like, you're like doing something, but you don't realize you're doing it to benefit
that primitive thing.
Like this number. What sense does that make to warm up my whole body?
Yeah, like I do that in front of my hands all the time.
I'm gonna rub my hands to warm up my my torso. Yeah. No, but no, it is. It really is. Which is like a weird natural movement you do.
I gotta go pee. Give me a sec.
I can tell you do.
We're gonna take a break.
I do too. All right.
We'll be back, guys.
Yeah. All right, we're back and rejuvenated.
We're feeling good, feeling light, ready, nimble.
A psychopath with his 74 degrees thermostat.
Yeah, well, I'm used to having the house, I think it's like 68 or 67. So I'm used to like freezing my ass off. And like naturally, my feet, I have like poor circulation is really what it comes down to. So I would literally get ready for bed after like, playing games for the day or whatever. And by the time I made it to bed, I'm like my hands, my feet, and even my knees. Like really, when my knees get cold, it like hurts really, really bad. But they would like it's funny because those areas of my hands, feet, knees would be cold, but then everything in between, like my calves, my thighs, would be 100% like on fire. Like they'd be warm as hell. So it like didn't make sense. Like hot, cold, hot, cold. But if I put it to like some stupid temperature like 74. One time I did 76. That was fucking too hot. I can go to bed comfortably, but then
oh my goodness, you sleep in that?
I have. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night and obviously turn it down because I'm like, it's too fucking hot.
Come on, man. You haven't listened to me preach about sleep? You haven't listened to Matt Walker about sleep?
Temperature?
Yes.
Really? What does he say?
That's probably like the top. No, it is the top 3 things.
Well, you go to bed better with cold weather or colder temperatures, right?
Yeah, you stay asleep too. It is impossible to initiate sleep in warm temperatures.
Well, that's weird because like even like at the 67, 68, I would wake up in the middle of the night. So I wouldn't stay asleep long enough to like really enjoy that. So 70s pushing it, but like 72, somewhere like 71 sometimes, 72, I'll be able to sleep through the night. But like when it gets to like 68, I'm waking up at like 3 in the morning pissed off. Like, why the fuck am I up? Freezing my ass off.
That's because you're freezing. You got to bundle up.
Yeah, I do. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4 layers right there. And I'm still freezing. That's why I don't get it. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then if I wear clothes, I'm too hot. You know what I'm saying? So like I usually sleep in my chonies. I can't sleep with it. It's like weird. I can't, ever since I was a kid, I can't sleep in anything else. Occasionally I will. Like I'll sleep in my matching tops and bottom, my flannel.
That's
like adorable. An old man.
That's really cute. No, because your core temperature has to drop about 2 to 3 degrees for you to.
Is that 98 to 97, 96? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And that's so you can get into sleep, like, because anybody can. If you're tired enough, it could be 100 degrees and you'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like get a restful night of sleep. Like when we were doing the show beforehand, I would set every night. I would have the AC down to like in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just get under my blanket and sleep great. But yeah, if it's at the point where you're too cold, you're gonna wake up and be restless.
Well, that's how it is when it's like 6. Even in like I think the lowest it's ever been is 65. At 65, I'm like like I'm an ice cube. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say 50s, I'm like, God damn, you're crazy.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I do like high 50s.
Yeah.
No, it's I can't remember the exact, because I'm pretty sure the book never said. You can look it up though.
Yeah.
Like what the recommended thermostat setting is. I can't recall what it is, but it definitely shouldn't be hot or warm.
Yeah.
You need cool. Like people always tell you, like, "Oh, I slept good." I think it's because it was cool out, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly why. Because you're so used to. It makes sense. You want to be warm and cozy when you go to bed.
Yeah,
in your nice, warm, cozy room. I'm telling you, that's not according to what that book talks about, and everybody agrees on. Warm and cozy is not good if it's literally warm and cozy in your house, like 70-something degrees.
Yeah.
It's not what they're talking about, even like 74 or something.
Yeah, I will say that like the temperature that you artificially manufacture through your heating system or cooling system, AC, whatever, HVAC probably, compared to like a natural wind. Like if you open your window and it's like, let's say 74 degrees out, that's completely different than how your system would, I feel like, interpret it. Because like I feel like I can sit outside all day in like 74 degree temperature and go to sleep in that, right? Because like obviously in the summer you want to open your window because the AC is really blaring, and it's one of those things that can only maintain it for so long, especially here in fucking California. So it's like if I have my window open at 74 degrees, I could probably sleep pretty good. But there might be a couple hours or even an hour or two where like it's too cold, right? Like you definitely need a bundle before you go to bed. But it feels good, like you're saying. It feels good when you go to bed, but like realistically, people get the, I would say, false pretense that like just because you close your eyes and you wake up 8 hours later, you're getting a well night. Yeah. Or well rest night, whatever you want to say. But in reality, you're not. It's fucking dog shit. Like you're tossing and turning, especially if you have like a camera on yourself. Tossing and turning. You're not even in REM sleep. You're kind of in and out of REM sleep if you are. And then if you go down to like 70, even 70 degrees, it's like, oh man, this is kind of cold, you know? So it's one of those things that like, it's similar to the way that clothes fit, you know, like no clothes brand fits the same as the next. So like you got to try to find that temperature that like not only allows you to go to sleep enough to keep you cool, but it doesn't freeze you out at 2 or 4 in the morning you know, because then those are the hours that, like, especially you want to not only stay asleep in, but be in the deep sleep. So.
Yeah. I think it is. So your cycles when you sleep are in 90-minute increments. So you go into deep non-REM sleep and then REM sleep.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a wave every 90 minutes. But if I remember right, some of your more dream-rich REM cycles are towards the end of your sleep. That's why most people have, when they recall their dreams, it's before, like, oh, I was having this crazy dream, then my alarm went off. Like, because you're having, that was in the cycle of your sleep when you typically have the most, like, psychedelic dreams.
The experiences,
But where was I going with that? But, yeah, so it was a good question asked on one of the podcasts. If people, because the first half and the last half of your sleep are different in terms of like what they provide to you. So the question that was asked was, if you're someone who knows you're only going to be able to get like 4 hours of sleep at night because of X, Y, and YZ reason, should you just go to bed at your normal time and get up 4 hours later? Or should you delay going to bed for 4 hours and then go to bed then and wake up at your normal time? Like what is
better?
Yeah, because they really do provide. It's kind of weird to think, like, because what's happening is I'm pretty sure it's the circadian rhythm is what they were talking about.
Sounds right.
Well, I know that's the name, but I don't know if that's like the mechanism that they were talking about. Your circadian rhythm is going to do its thing regardless of when you go to sleep or not. It doesn't care.
Yeah.
So when it's just like, it doesn't matter if you're asleep or not. People who work at night, and I remember this very clearly. Every single time around 4 hits, if you're in a building that's cool, you're probably going to find yourself freezing around, like, noticeably cooler at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because your body temperature hits its dip at 4. But guess what? You're awake. But your body still does these, like, mechanisms regardless if you're sleeping or not. So your body doesn't care if you are awake or not. It doesn't start at 0 if you went to bed 4 hours later. It starts at step 4. It starts at hour 4.
I see.
So it's an interesting, like, mechanism that is occurring in your body. But he didn't really say. He said it's like kind of like up to you, like. And I don't think he really pinpointed, like, oh, the first 4 hours is good for, like, mindfulness and, like, energy levels. But this next 4 hours are better for, like, physical performance and, like, X, Y, and Z. He didn't go into that level of detail. I'm sure he probably knows.
Yeah.
Matt Walker is who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Dude. Sleep scientist. But, yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, doesn't matter if you're awake or not. Your body does its circadian rhythm, kind of regardless.
Yeah, I used to take naps. I think it was like usually 12:30 to 1 p.m. But like, I wonder if that affects the way my circadian rhythm is, or if it's like naturally there. Because like, if you think about it, it's more of a coffee question, kind of like modern question at the same time. Like, as we've started to use coffee and the way that we operate now with coffee in our daily schedule, because I would say a lot of people use coffee because obviously caffeine is like the number one addicting drug out there. So if I use coffee, for instance, then I'm able to kind of push through my day, right? Especially if you say it lasts 12 hours. So if I don't drink coffee, but I just like decide to sleep at 12 when like my body's getting tired, is that my natural circadian rhythm? You're not going to be able to maybe know this, but like, I'm just saying.
Oh, I've seen YouTube videos. I know.
Yeah. Oh, you're the expert?
Yeah. I read books. Yeah. Look at me. I'm a sleep doctor.
I got something on that anyway after this, but like, I'm just wondering, like, sometimes if I take I would say my threshold is really 30 minutes, sometimes even 20 minutes, 25. Because once I take that like 20 to 25 minute nap, I'm more rested than if I decide to take the basically half a sleep period, like 3 to 4 hours of a nap.
Don't do that. Please never do that.
And especially it affects when I take it. So like sometimes I would get home at 2, and then I would sleep till 5. But then it's like, well, if I want to go to sleep at 8 or 9, even 10 at the latest, I can't because I slept for those 3 or 4 hours. So it's like, if I just sleep for the 20 minutes, what part of my cycle am I doing, and what am I screwing up by sleeping for that period, vice screwing up my circadian rhythm sleeping for 3 or 4 hours, you know? Because they say it's not good to sleep before your bedtime anyways. So it's like, well, does that impact it?
Yeah, so Andrew Huberman, he talks about naps pretty often because he takes naps too. And according to what he says, so first off, duration of the nap is super important.
Yeah.
But also timing of it. But duration, look, if you're taking 2 to 3 hours, 4-hour naps, that's just a shitty actual night's rest worth. You're not, it's past a nap. So when I do naps, I do, I don't even set an alarm. I set a timer like a psychopath.
Oh, so you count down?
Yeah, I count down like I'm cooking food or something. I set it for 45 minutes because I know like the first 10. Because sometimes I'm just being, honestly, when I take a nap, it's not even because I need it. It's just because I'm being lazy.
Yeah.
But I'm disciplined enough to not be like, oh, I'm just going to lay in bed for 3 hours. No, I still do a 45-minute timer. And I know like probably the first 10 to 15 is going to be not really sleeping.
You're sleeping, but you're aware of what's going on.
That's called non-sleep deep rest, as I have learned. So the timing of it, or the duration of it, definitely, don't know his hard number he says, but me, I would say definitely no more than an hour. Don't do this 3 hours stuff. You're screwing yourself. And speaking from personal, not experience, but experience with another person, not myself.
Anecdotes.
Yeah, an anecdote. That's a good word. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I never knew what that meant. I've seen what long naps do to someone, and it fucking ruins them. It really does, because you're in a permanent sleep loss, which is hilarious to say because, what do you mean sleep loss? You're taking naps and you're sleeping at night. No, you're not. You're taking your rest cycle and you're effectively cutting it in half. And you're just breaking it up like, oh, I'll sleep 4 here and 4 there. No, we're not designed to do that. And you're just in a vicious cycle. Same as caffeine cycle. People that drink caffeine all day. Yeah. They're never uncaffeinated, so they never rest basically during sleep. But timing though, it definitely should not be in the evening. I want to say like anything past 4, if you're like a normal kind of like 10 to 6 kind of sleep schedule guy. Past 4, you're gonna start, even if it's like a short nap, you're gonna probably start cutting into your actual sleep. So if anything, it should be ideally a noon thing. Noon, 1, 2, 30 minutes.
Well, we call it the IDIS. I think you meant to say 6 to 10, not 10 to 6, right?
No, 10 to 6. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. sleep cycle. 8
hours. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I guess 6. Either way it works. 6, 10, 10 to 6. Yeah. So we would call it the I don't know if you call it the IDIS or if I've ever said it. But like literally like after you eat lunch, like I think it's just one of those things like we're so used to eating between, I don't even say 11, but like 11:30, even 12 like the mark, to 1. Like that's your time to eat. So then when you come back, you're like, I'm kind of tired, you know? Like no matter if you eat a lot or a little, you're like, oh, I got to finish the rest of the work. Whether you work, again, from like 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., sometimes 6, but like that's your window of like, all right, I got to get to that. So you're just like, if I just take a little nap, I ate this food, I'm real rested, I'll be fine for the rest of the night. And it will work if you, like you're saying, stick to it and be consistent and have that discipline. Because probably you're gonna hate this. You're gonna hate to hear this. Probably from literally February all the way to November, maybe even October is probably safe to say. I was in that vicious sleep cycle of like, all right, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna take a nap, and then I'm gonna go to bed whenever I'm tired. And sometimes I would be on the mark of 9 p.m. all the way to 2 a.m. And I'm like, all right, I got a 4-hour thing, and then I'm up. I got to be at work. So it was just trying to figure out, like, good. Do I sleep all day on my Saturday and not really enjoy my weekend, right? Because, like, you don't want to think about work when you're not at work, obviously. So it's like, do I waste my weekend? And then when Monday comes, I'm, like, right back into the fucking vicious cycle. But then again, on the weekends, you're not doing anything like you would at work. So it kind of, like, fucks you up. But it goes back to that discipline of, like, waking up at the same time every day, no matter if you're working or not.
Yeah.
And I found myself even throughout the week where Monday I started at 6, and then I slowly progressed to where I'm like 6:30, 6:45, and I'm like, I'm fine. It was only a 40-minute difference. And I feel it when I wake up. I'm like, I'm either too tired or whatever. But the main problem with that, and I don't know if it's a temperature thing, kind of going back to our previous conversation or what, but no matter what, without fail, this entire week, I've woken up at like 3 or 4 a.m. Don't matter. I like look at my phone. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, why am I awake? And I think my body thinks that it's time to wake up, but it's way before I should even be awake. So I'm like, God damn it, man. Why am I awake?
That has to do with your travel, for sure.
Travel?
When I just came back recently after being in another time zone.
Yeah.
I was doing that. And I was actually getting pissed off about it because I was like, why do I keep... Because for me, because I'm pretty disciplined with sleep.
Yeah.
It's either pretty rare I have to get up to go to the bathroom at night. I know old folks hear that and they're just pissed at me.
Yeah.
Which is a sad demise we're going to face one day.
Yeah.
Without
Our
fail.
bladders.
Yeah. No cure. You will. That is upsetting. 3 times a night. It's not good. But
3? Jesus.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening to you. Without fail, too. It's crazy. Doesn't matter how little you drink during the day or in the evening.
Wow.
It's sad. Which only further disrupts your sleep.
Yeah, I mean, your sleep's going to get shittier and shittier the older you get anyways, yeah.
Or stress. Now, they'll, towards the end, that has to do with getting up before my alarm.
Yeah.
That one does it to me. But, yeah, when I got back recently, that was happening to me. It was annoying to shit out of me. It was like an hour before my alarm every single night. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But it went away. I think it'll correct itself.
See, that's something that's like weird because like you say like stress, but then like I add stress and anxiety. So like stress as in like
about sleep.
No, I mean not really about sleep. I mean I'm sure that's a factor that I think of, but when it comes to like work, like I always have. It kind of goes hand in hand, like the stress anxiety thing. So like I'm stressed that like I have to go to work, because like I just immediately like associate work with like stress. I don't maybe in like when I'm there it's not necessarily as stressful, but then it's that anxiety that kind of feeds the stress. Is like even though I get told like I get told all the time that I'm like a very extrovert kind of person, but I consider myself to be introvert. But other people like from the outside wouldn't really view me as that, or at least I've gotten that kind of feedback. So it's like if I'm an extrovert, then it's like I don't really approach life that way. So for instance, when I was over on the East Coast, I'd go to work, especially for the first probably like 12 months, a year I should say. Every day I would walk in, I'd be like super anxious. Like, man, I gotta like talk to this person. Like this person I'm afraid of. Like I don't know how to approach them. And then like when I say certain things, like what do they take it as? So like that anxiety like just happens to build up. And then that builds into the stress of like, well, I need to say something to do something to get something accomplished. So it's like this basically vicious cycle in of itself. And then that kind of affects my sleep. So I'm like people think like you have to be physically exhausting yourself to be mentally draining yourself kind of thing. But like, I feel like you can really mentally drain yourself by processing so much more. Like, it's a well-known thing out there in the chess world that like if you just play a game of chess, especially at the world or grand champion level, like you burn so much calories that like you basically like deplete your energy sources. Like you have to get more water, you have to get more food, because like you don't realize it. You're just thinking you're playing a game, but like you're thinking so hard about the next move that basically if you didn't eat, you'd be like this very inhibited person because you're like not getting the nutrients that you need. So I kind of mirror that same thing in like the stress and anxiety that I face at work. So I'm just like, how do I overcome this? So it's like you're not only dealing with that day's problems, but like you're like, okay, well, if I'm dealing with these day's problems and overthinking or overhandling it, I got to feed that, right? Because like you're burning more calories or whatever. So like you need to fix that. So then it's like not only does your like sleep and everything affect that, but your nutrition, right? So like if you're eating shitty all day, or if you are trying to cut weight or anything like that, that's going to disrupt how that works out. So I think people kind of like go through their lives thinking like it's normal. And I've tried to like understand it, how it applies to me and then how it applies to others to kind of understand them more or less. But like if I eat less, but then I'm using way more energy, I eventually need to eat more to compensate. So it's like, then I'm eating shitty, but then it's like I'm not trying to eat shitty. I'm just trying to catch up. But that's one of the worst things you can do is play catch up with your daily nutrition requirements, You
can also get into the vicious alarm or the clock checking.
Oh, yeah. That's a big thing.
That's
a
horrible one.
Yeah. You think like an hour's passed, but it's been like 5 minutes?
Or the I still do this. It's crazy. It's never failed me, but like, did my alarm not work?
Oh, dude, man. I check my alarm like 8 times before I go to bed. I'm like, is my alarm set? Yeah. And I'll lay down and I'm like, I gotta check it. If I don't check it, it's not gonna go off.
It's funny. Yeah, that's the. I do that one.
Yeah.
I don't check the time because I'm wondering how much more I have to sleep. I check the time to see is it past my alarm time? Yeah. I'll do that one.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh, what the hell? Hour away.
Do you think it's like traumatic experiences? Like you associate that time that you were late with like how it is now? So like for instance, I remember to this day, so. I was late. I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes. I lived like literally a 2-minute drive away from where I needed to be. And I was doing like some martial arts stuff. And I had to be there at a certain time, and I showed up again late. And I made a pattern of it over 2 or 3 days, and I kept giving the same excuse, like, oh, like I'm just running late, And I ended up having to do 50 burpees, and I was like pissed. I was like, man, I gotta do fucking 50 burpees. He's like, yeah, like the guy at the time in charge. He's like, yeah, we're not gonna start until you do your 50 burpees. And it's like fucking 4 or 5 in the morning. I was like, I gotta do fucking 50. I'm tired. Like I literally just woke up because I missed my alarm. And so I wonder if like that affects me to today, like it could have been a small thing with you where it was like, I was 5 minutes late, someone yelled at me, and now you're like, oh my God, I got to be self-conscious. If I don't wake up on time, I might get yelled at, even if it was like nothing, do you think that could be it, or you have nothing to really associate?
I don't know though, because I've never.
I mean, you were late once since I've known you. But even then, it wasn't like anything crazy. You just like slept in. You don't remember that? You were like, I mean, because I think about this because I fucking talked to somebody. But anyways, one time you were like, hey man, I just woke up. I was like, you know what? Take your time. And then I was the asshole, and I did it a couple times to you, and I could tell you were pissed.
Oh yeah,
because I for
think
sure did it to you.
Now. Yeah.
But you did it once to me, like literally unintentionally, and I was like, hey man, like. I've done it to you. Like, I'm not even worried. Just fucking take your time.
I think I might remember that.
It was literally just one time.
All right, well.
Out of that entire time we were together.
That time, and then I can remember another time. And that wasn't. Actually, that was kind of stupid because I went back to sleep. And then I was like, hey, I'm just going to lay here. Yeah, good luck.
The biggest lie?
Yeah, that was when I was working at night, too. It was in the morning, so good luck. That, honestly, anybody that has never, not even if they work this way, just try to do this. Just go from sleeping at night to now in one day switching where you sleep in the daytime. That shit. No, wait, no, did I have it backwards?
No, that makes sense. Yeah, because you would start on days and then go to nights, right? So you would want to be sleeping during the day.
Yeah. So when you're supposed to be asleep at night, you got to stay up that night. That shit was every single time.
Your shift wasn't even really starting then. You were trying to prepare to start your shift.
When like the sun goes down and it's like 1 a.m, your body's just screaming at you. And it's, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'll take a nap. And what you're doing now is taking a nap during your normal sleep time.
Yeah.
So that's like an amplified nap. Like when you sleep during the day, it's the sun's up and it's like your body is like, I'm not supposed to be like sleeping now. So go into light rest, 30 minutes, no problem. When you tell yourself if you go to bed at 10 every night and it's midnight.
Yeah.
And you're going to try to take a nap for 30 minutes just to try to give yourself a boost to make it through the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Good luck. It is like the hardest nap to recover. You don't recover from those.
Yeah.
Because you're sleeping just a little bit when your normal sleep time is happening.
Yeah.
So your body just like dips down right into, a nice, good, deep sleep.
Yeah, I remember, especially when we lived together, there was times where I think it was like 11 or even a little earlier to like 3 a.m. I would try to sleep and I would try to like hold my body over. And then it became to the point where like it didn't matter what I did. Like even if I try to like sleep during the time that I should have, I would eventually roll into the next cycle. So like if I needed to be up during the day, I would be up at night. And then like that's when I needed to be asleep. And then the opposite. So like I would be sleeping during the day when I needed to be up at night. So it was like, well, I got to fucking stand duty today. Like I don't got a choice, Mm-hmm. So like, it was a completely vicious cycle. And like, one of those things I'm surprised that I still fucking made it to this day. I'm just like, fuck, man. Like my sleep, I had no sleep,
You were still around. Do you remember that one time this still blows my mind to this day. I slept for 20 hours straight. Were you around for that?
You told me about it, but I don't remember if you were off or what happened to make you do that. But yeah, I remember you telling me because you had skipped your lunch or your breakfast, your lunch, and then you had woken up around dinner time, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. I only got up because one of the other guys came to get me to ask me something. And he didn't think I was sleeping because it was like not a time I should be sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's but the craziest thing was, to me, it wasn't one of those like you're just being lazy. You like wake up and then you like, I don't know, you're messing around and then you like go back to bed.
Yeah.
No, I was like unconscious for 20 hours.
Yeah.
Don't recall ever getting up. Definitely didn't get up. Don't recall waking up.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think that's normal. I don't think I should be, because that's like a coma. That's like a small coma at that point. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I was able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to this day, that one has always been like, I don't think that was good.
I mean, back in the day, it was 10 days of vacation, and dude, there's moments where I just remember, like, especially the first day I got home, like, because we had done a couple days of vacation there, like I think it was 2 days before I finally got home, and I remember sleeping, like, I think I went to bed at 10, and I don't think I woke up until, like, basically the sun was down the next day, and I was just like, fuck, this is what it feels like to sleep, because it's like you just have no idea, like your body is trying to get into a sleep, and then when it finally is able to get, it's like, I'm gonna take this entire opportunity that I can. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what happened with you. It's just like your body like is in a shock. It's like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna take what I can when I can.
Yeah. Book I'm reading now, it talked about the previous world record holder. I don't know if it was like, I don't know if
sleep
of staying awake the longest. I think it was 13 days he stayed up.
That's rough.
And it said he went and slept, I think it wasn't like crazy. I think it was like 10 or 12 hours or something.
Wow.
So not nothing. Like it wasn't It was long.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a day.
Yeah.
You know? And he ended up getting, I think, Alzheimer's or dementia later in life, and he thinks it's because of that.
Wow.
He's still alive, the guy, because it wasn't too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt Walker talks about in his book, Guinness World Record, they got rid of that world record. They don't do that anymore.
Wow.
Because they're like, no, this is horrible for you.
Yeah.
Because at the time, when that stuff was going on, they honestly thought, like, sleepiness, being tired, and sleeping just relieves you of tiredness. It doesn't. It's just like a feeling.
Yeah.
Like your bodily functions continue on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you'll die eventually. Like
yeah.
you have to go to like sleep every night, which is it's pretty crazy. But yeah, they did away with that Guinness World Record.
Damn.
They no longer view that as a world record.
Yeah. I mean, it's a world record, but it's not something that you want to be a world record, you know?
Yeah.
Especially under their name.
Well, on YouTube, there's a video of a guy doing some world record. It might have been that dude that talks. That's in the book. But yeah, it was like 13 days just sitting there awake. Like you gotta be like delusional at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean you have no, like your brain is in its own world. You know, you're not even like you're existing, but you're not like. That explains the dementia thing. You know, and I think we've tried to really understand like what sleep is because we don't really fully understand, especially our dreams. But I think an obvious one is like you're saying dementia or Alzheimer's. Like it's just going to be a leading cause of that. And I used to laugh at people that go to bed at like 8 p.m. You know, like oh they're old. And I'm like no, like they're probably going to live a lot longer than I am.
Yeah,
just something simple like that.
Well, the big thing is getting the right amount of sleep.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily a time. Because it shifts throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's why teenagers stay up till like 2 a.m. because that's what they're literally designed to do.
Yeah,
it's not because they're lazy. Like no, they're meant to get up at noon. It's by design.
Yeah,
that's why it talks about in that book too. But like, why are we sending kids to school at 7, 8 a.m? They're not supposed to be up that early.
Yeah, I remember being like so tired.
Yeah, it's not. People will say, "Oh, it's because you're a lazy teenager." There's lazy kids these days.
That's like a scapegoat, you know?
Yeah. No, it's by design. Like your circadian rhythm shifts to the right, a few hours.
Yeah,
'cause I remember that. I remember being like 14, and staying up at like 2 a.m. was like that's how you did it.
Yeah, it's also like a delicate balance because like let's say if I wake up at 12 p.m., the last thing I want to do is work from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then come home from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and do fucking schoolwork, you know? Like, I might be up for that, but it's like, how much am I enjoying that time in life?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, you want to...
Yeah, we can wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
Where are we at? Wow. Look at us.
Yeah. I think this is a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we polished up the studio a little bit. We got some lighting. You got your very professional mic stand.
Yeah, we had to trade mic arms because it was just better with the chair and you know what we got.
Yeah, and I'm over here in the wheelchair, chilling like a stoner.
Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't like this. It ain't that bad.
Yeah, you actually comfortable. You're not too achy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not nerd necking it like I was. I can actually sit back and it's just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, first one back. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
You're a valued subscriber. All right. If you're subscribed, we love that you're subscribed. Thanks so much.
Our little village.
Yeah.
All right. You guys take care. We'll talk to you soon.